Hey, we are back. At least two of us are back.
The two most important people.
There's no one cattywampus. There's no one directly across from. Well, you're directly across. You've kind of invaded what would be Bender's spot.
Yeah, you know.
You slid over
metaphorically,
so we can be physically in every sense of the word. Especially after what we're about to get into, you've definitely invaded his spot. You've taken over his spot. You've claimed it. And it is just two of us today. I was thinking about this as we go in because I have really very little to talk about, and I know you have very little to talk about. But I think if I can go back in my head, and this may not be the case because this is episode 156, but in terms of just as I remember them, some of the most fun episodes we've done, you and I had one of the most fun episodes. I'd say it's probably I think it's in my top 10, but I don't know. We might have done way better.
I feel like we need to rank these at some point. For episode 200, we should do our top 5 favorite episodes.
I've already been thinking about putting together episode 200 already, getting some stuff ready for it because
it's called Deep Tease, peeps.
Yeah, well, we're on 156, so we're close now. We're in the approach, and I love these soundbite episodes. I'll probably start putting that together soon.
Okay.
And do it as each episode unfolds because waiting to 100 episodes and then do it is a monumental task. But the last episode that I can remember that you and I had completely nothing to talk about was the Shamrocks episode where we spent 20 minutes on Game of Thrones.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
That was one of the most entertaining chats we've ever had.
We got a lot of good feedback on that one.
I believe we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was from Phil. I don't even know if Phil's listening anymore.
Oh, Rerat?
Yeah, what's up? Rerat? Now you say it in a different way.
A little more melancholic.
Yeah.
Oh, Rerat?
So all of that said, we have nothing to talk about really, but we did put together kind of a couple things to talk about. One of them is, as we sit and record this, it's December 2nd.
'Tis the season.
Yeah, even if you are an absolute hater for the early adopters of Christmas, has been the popular thing to hate on this year.
Yeah, that needs to go away.
Yeah.
Also, let's just put to bed the whole Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not.
No, we're not doing that. That's something that you and I are firmly opposed to on this.
No, I don't care if you want to say it's a Christmas movie. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I'm really tired of the snarky people who are like, you know what's my favorite Christmas movie? Die Hard.
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm not doing it in an ironic or snarky way. I just love the movie.
Yeah,
and I think the
that's totally
problem
fine.
is those hipster people like that, or whatever you want to call them, they just make everything suck.
I did hear the other day a good take on it, though, was if you rewind the movie Die Hard from the end to the beginning, it just seems like a really awesome Christmas party.
that makes sense, yeah. Speaking of awkward Christmas parties, that movie Office Christmas Party's been on every night, and
It's not good, right?
I liked it.
You did like it.
And I've watched it maybe if you piece together every 20, 30 minutes that I've watched of it in the last 4 weeks, I bet I've watched it 6 times.
Eddie Murphy in it?
No, the guy looks like Eddie Murphy.
Now I feel racist.
Yeah. No, because, yes, you're right. I'm just going to join you on that racist plateau.
Well, Missy isn't here, so I feel like I got to step it up a little bit.
But when that trailer came out, I was like, well, and Eddie Murphy's in this, being in a raunchy comedy? This is going to be great. And then I watched the movie, I'm like, well, that's fun. That's not fucking Eddie Murphy at all. And there's no illusion to it's not Eddie Murphy. I think they kind of wanted to. If I had to guess, that part was written for Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And he's like, not enough money in it, because then don't you think that he still has fuck you money?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And all because of Shrek.
And the Beverly Hills Cop series probably made him a mint.
Yeah.
Oh, the Dr. Doolittle. I mean, the Disney train.
Yeah.
And made him and then DreamWorks, I guess, with Shrek.
So are you saying he didn't make a lot of money off Vampire in Brooklyn?
I don't know, but I enjoyed that movie. I watched it.
You know the famous story about that movie, right?
What's that?
It's why part of the reason why he broke up with Lorne Michaels and SNL. So when that movie came out, it got terrible reviews.
Oh,
and
that's
David
right.
Spade did his little bit on SNL.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's why Spade referenced it. Yeah,
because he showed the movie poster and said, "Look, Mommy, a falling star."
And Spade tells the story of how that's where they determined the line of who you could and couldn't go after, and SNL icons were not; those became off limits. You know. So, what are you gonna do?
Did they ever make up? Or
I don't think he was there at the 50th anniversary, was he?
Yeah,
or
he was.
Eddie was?
Yeah, I remember that he came out and did a really awkward 3-minute thank you monologue, and then Norm Macdonald tweeted about how they were originally going to do a Bill Cosby sketch.
Oh,
and Eddie was into it, and at the last minute was like, I don't want to kick the guy.
Yeah, because he's not Eddie. At some point, it was Beverly Hills Cop 3. That's exactly the point. So Beverly Hills Cop 1 was, man, it was raunchy and as blue comedy as you could get, and 2 was a little cleaner but still
a fine movie.
And then 3 was at a theme park that was supposed to be like Disney and was all family oriented, and that's where he turned the corner. He's like, I'm not that guy anymore. I gotta tell you, Eddie, that guy's awesome. This guy sucks.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm never gonna hate on somebody for reinventing themselves and then making a shit ton of money on it.
Oh yeah, well, and but there's
Donkey's funny.
Well, and there's some gems in there. That Holy Man one was a pretty good movie.
Holy Man.
He's got. I mean, there's a couple of hidden.
Boomerang's good.
Yeah, Boomerang's not bad. It was on TV here recently. Distinguished Gentleman wasn't bad.
Great movie.
Yeah, he and probably more appropriate today than whenever he got elected on name recognition.
Yeah.
But
that and Bulworth are 2 movies that are 20 years old that really hold up.
Bulworth is that's not a bad movie. Ghetto Holly Berry in that one, yeah. But also though, back to his SNL thing, isn't his when he had the emergency host, isn't that considered the greatest host of all time, like the single best host performance? Do you remember that? I can't remember the story of who the host was.
I remember that, but I don't remember that being like.
Everybody says it was a masterpiece of comedy, is what everybody. Because that was one of the most improv on the fly episodes of all time, and it was. They said Eddie Murphy wrote it all.
When was it still under Ebersol, or was that when Lauren had taken it back by that point?
I don't know.
Because I don't think Eddie did any seasons with Lauren.
Really, that makes sense.
I think so. So Lauren got fired in 1980,
and
then Ebersol took over for 5 years, and then that's when they had a really interesting cast of people: Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Anthony Michael Hall, Robert Downey Jr., but they were all terrible on the show.
And they did never get a chance because when Lauren came back, he axed essentially everyone.
Yeah.
Is Dick Ebersol like the quiet MVP of all TV?
Yeah.
I mean, football, even the XFL, he had a hand in. And people say,
"Oh, should we talk about that?" XFL.
We will. Yeah, we will. And people say, "Well, that's that was stupid." But that XFL gave us almost every camera angle you see in football now.
Yep.
And at Saturday Night Live, he was there. He had all kinds of great wrestling on when wrestling. The biggest ratings of all time are Dick Ebersol's stuff. Yep. So and good buddies with Vincent K. McMahon.
That is.
Well, before we get into the Christmas thing about the Christmas season, let's talk real fast because you mentioned it. XFL.
Coming to the Edward Jones Dome in 2020, your St. Louis, hopefully, Stallions.
You want the Stallions?
Why the fuck not?
I don't know. I don't even know what's on the table. What's the options?
I haven't heard anything. But as we alluded to, the official announcement will apparently be Tuesday. But XFL is coming to 8 cities, and our St. Louis will be getting one of them. The only city that doesn't currently have an NFL team, which I found interesting.
Well, that is good.
So,
oh man, wouldn't it be cool to have XFL, MLS, hockey, and baseball all in a row?
That would be pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah. And that's another thing we talk about, too. The MLS stadium passing the Board of Aldermen 26-2.
6-2, yeah. 26-2, which is essentially unanimous because there's always 2 pricks. Yeah.
Yes, so true. So now we're playing the waiting game, I guess, with the MLS to award us, hopefully, that 28th franchise.
I can't remember where I read it. So there was a story somewhere last week or the week before that the MLS was always going to have a team in St. Louis. That
they wanted to.
And when the whole thing went south, apparently one of the reasons the MLS didn't come out and shit on St. Louis or say anything is because I don't know that they were too keen on how they were trying to get it passed either. It was almost, from what I read, and this could have been Bernie, this could have been somebody, I don't remember. It was almost like a sabotage job to get it the way they wanted it, and having these minority women owners and the more private financing for the stadium. Apparently, that's the way they wanted it.
It makes sense. And local ownership. The first group was headed up by a guy from Boston who had like a trust fund, not trust fund, but like a mutual, some kind of financial firm.
Yeah. So,
and this is all local ownership. The Taylor family, and then Jim Cavanaugh from Worldwide.
Yeah. So apparently that was it was not necessarily. It wasn't completely a. The way it read is not that it was. A sabotage job or a underhanded way, but once it was clear that this had problems, they backed off of their push for it and were like, well, this isn't the worst thing to happen because this is not the way we want it to go down to begin with.
Sure.
So, and now they're getting it they're getting a darling of a headline story to go on the first page of every major, sports paper and even newspapers in the country. Mm-hmm. Have female, minority, local ownership. privately financed stadium. I mean, what are you going to do there?
And it's part of the city that could use a little revitalization.
What about that team name? What do you think we should name that team?
Let's just keep it simple, like St. Louis United or...
I like the United. I was thinking St. Louis. We've already got the FC.
Yep, St. Louis FC.
So
we've had AC St. Louis already.
Yeah, so the St. Louis United or United STL or something like that would be cool, I think.
I mean, I'm just already looking forward. Like, I could just see some really cool jerseys based off the Fleur de Lis and the St. Louis flag. I mean,
the colors would be cool if they adopted kind of what the FC, because FC's already wanting to be affiliated with them, So,
do you see yourself trying to go to opening night or opening day of either the MLS team or the XFL team, or neither or both?
I see myself of trying to get season tickets to the MLS one.
I would be on board with that.
The XFL. If tickets aren't unreasonable, I'll try to go to the opening. But what are we talking, 6 games? So
I think 5, unless they do like a quote-unquote preseason.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll go to as many games as I can to support it. I don't know that it's something that – well, I'm getting tremendous feedback right now. But I don't know if it's something that I'm like 100% think's going to work. I want something to work in St. Louis.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would love nothing more. I think the perfect situation would be that opening day. It's full house, and 50,000 people show up to some minor league bullshit league football.
Yeah,
and then I can't see the league lasting, but as long as St. Louis leads the league in attendance, I think that would look good for us.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only chance the league has of lasting is because they're going about it completely different. They're almost going about it under an MLS, format.
Right.
They're not pushing it as a competitor for the NFL anymore, like he tried to last time. They're not saying, well, this is real football. There's not all the gimmicks and stuff going on. It's going to be a serious take as a kind of an independent league, minor league football system, which is not available in the United States as it stands. There's a bunch of pro football leagues that actually survive and I don't know that they thrive, but there's guys that are holding on to the dream into their 40s playing professional football that has nothing to do with NFL.
Sure.
So you take the best of those guys, the best of the guys that can't quite hack it in the NFL, and now you give them somewhere else to go maybe make a living. I think the key will be, can a guy be a star in the XFL and make more money than he can be a third stringer in the NFL? Because if the answer is no, you go to the NFL.
Right.
Because I don't care what your passion is about the game. If you're making more money to not abuse your body, that the kind of abuse that the NFL gives you, that's what you do, right?
Right. I think the only way it survives is if eventually either the XFL or the American Football League will have to merge, or whatever it's being called, the rival league that's starting next year. I don't think 2 leagues are sustainable at all.
No.
It'll be interesting.
Not for TV. Now, they could be sustainable on a small scale like they already are.
Yeah.
Like all these independent wrestling promotions, but if their goal is to be nationally recognized, no, they got to combine.
Well, I think part of the problem, though, is the way the XFL cities have come out, they're all over the country. I feel like you almost need more of a region. It seems like the American Football League is taking, I think, a smarter step by being more regionalized, kind of in the South. Or the XFL cities, you have Seattle, Tampa, New York, Houston. That's all over the place. That's a lot of traveling for, I'm assuming, if it's an NFL roster size, 53 guys.
Yeah. Maybe 45.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And honestly, what are you going to pay for a ticket? Would you pay more than $20? And that's be on the high side?
On a service with the service charge, I'd probably pay $35. I could see field level being $60.
Wow. Okay.
Because field level in NFL is like outrageous.
Yeah.
But $60 to be in that first row, which is, by the way, if you've ever been in an NFL game, that field level's not a great seat. That first rise is the best section.
Yeah, that middle tier.
Middle tier.
Hockey's the same way.
Yes, hockey is the same way. If you're not on the glass, and even on the glass is only great for the novelty of it. You don't get to see the whole game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know, but the MLS thing, I enjoy the MLS. I don't go out of my way to watch it, but when there's a game on or when the playoffs start, I watch it.
Wow. Okay.
I'll sit down and when Portland was a brand new team last year and they made the playoffs in their first thing, I thought, well, that's a good story. I think it was last year, maybe the year before.
Yeah, it's been at least a few years.
Orlando coming back from the shooting and being competitive. I followed that story.
Atlanta filling out the Georgia Dome or whatever it's called. Mercedes-Benz.
I mean, the MLS is, in the most meager, under-the-radar sense of the word, is being a success right now.
They're not making any money, though, still.
Well, and the new teams get really good support, and I think that's a good sign. And there's rabid fans here and there.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're not making very much money because they still haven't landed that TV deal yet.
True.
And,
I will watch. I mean, I don't watch any MLS except for maybe like the second half of the MLS final.
Yeah.
Which will be next week. But now that we're going to get a team, hopefully, I can see myself watching at least all the MLS St. Louis games. Just like hockey. Like, I don't watch too many non-playoff regular season hockey or baseball even, really.
I watched the entire game for LA versus LA, Galaxy and United. And then LA United is the other team. Or LA City. I can't remember. It's LA Galaxy.
Okay.
And then the other LA team. I watched.
Is it Chivas Regal?
I don't know. But I watched the entire game when Zlatan came over.
Okay.
And because that was, and I got to tell you, that was 90 minutes of some of the best TV because he didn't play the first half, and the crowd the entire half chanted for him. Mm-hmm. And when he came in, they were down 1-0. He hit the tying goal and the go-ahead goal.
Nice.
In 8 minutes that he was on the field. It was like, you can't write. I mean, in L.A., you can't write that. That's incredible.
Eventually, hopefully, the MLS will take away its model where they are responsible for all the contracts and let the individual teams get their own deals.
Yeah.
Once that happens, I think there will be more interest. And I would love to. I know that the international soccer would love to see MLS be like every other soccer league in the world with promotion and relegation.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, how awesome would that be if
it could be that way if they keep adding teams too? That might be the goal. We don't know. I mean,
be awesome
because, like to what you said a while ago, not every team's making money, but I could see a scenario where teams start making better money if they get 40 teams, and 28 of these teams are in the Premier League, so to speak, and the 14 are down in the lower league. I mean, I could see where that would work out.
I think it would. It would draw more interest to me. Like, if St. Louis FC had a chance to get into the MLS, I'd get season tickets right now.
Yeah. I enjoyed every game I've been to.
I had a good time, too.
I've seen them 3 times now, and I think they're 2-1, actually, when I've seen them.
There you go, yeah.
And it's been, I mean, the fans love it.
So
it's not a big stadium, but it's pretty packed.
7,000. They've done great renovations there with the Budweiser area, and
they've got a great little craft beer stand. Yep. The Section 8, the Crazies, are awesome, and they don't shut up no matter what the score is. I mean, it's got everything you want.
Yeah, and we both have families of 4. You can take everybody for under $60.
Oh yeah,
that's like one ticket for the Blues.
Hayden's been offered, and we didn't get to take it up, but because of the soccer league and we knew some people, it's cool. It's a cool deal. But enough about sports.
Oh, okay.
It's December. Let's go to Christmas.
'Tis the season for ass eating.
That's weird. You've done some weird things. That's a little odd out of nowhere. But we mentioned a while ago that it's time for people to stop hating on early adopting of Christmas. It's always been there. You're retarded.
Yeah.
You just chill out. But regardless of your stance on that, it's December, bitch. It's Christmas time. To which we, in an odd coincidence, all 4 hosts of this podcast all went to the brewery last night, and only 2 of them went together, and that would be the husband and wife couple. So Bender was there with family and friends. You were there with family, just family, right?
Family and friends.
Family and friends, and we were there with just family and one daughter friend. And
I should give a shout out to Adam and Tess, friends of the show, who were there.
Yeah, and none of us reached out to the other group to ask.
Yeah, well, we didn't know either of us were going. I found out Bender was going on Friday because his friend let it slip.
We found out that because he checked in or took a picture and posted it.
Oh.
So, and I want to give him shit, but I can't because he knows it, and I love Bender, but like we said earlier, Bender is incapable of regulating the size of any social event. He's and we can attest to you. First off, I want to say that we went on Saturday night, which was last night as we record this Sunday. It was not as busy as I have seen it, but it was busy enough that it got on my nerves.
Yeah.
The changes they've made were all for the worst. There were less things to do. There's like this year where they had the fire pits where you had to reserve your fire pit, that little section halfway through. That used to be a section of like local artists and craft people selling stuff.
Okay.
And a coffee hot chocolate stand.
Okay.
And then down where the ice rink was, which it was too warm to ice skate.
Right.
There was water on there was actual ponding water on the ice rink. There was only one stand where there were 4 in previous years, so the lines were bad. And then the whole reason I like going, outside of seeing my girls enjoy the lights have not changed enough over the years, so it's that kind of is frustrating.
Yeah.
But one of the main reasons I like going is trying the samples of beer at each little stage, and they shit on that this year.
Yeah, it was 1 free beer, which I stayed in line for 20 minutes to get, and then I got 1 ticket for 1 free beer, and I looked at the lines, and it was probably another 20 minutes to get said free beer. Fuck it, I'd rather just pay $5 to get a beer from the bar, which was also another 20 minutes away.
And that was a problem, too. It was so busy at all of the stands outside. Friend of Bender's, Mike D., I don't know if he listens to the show. He better fucking download it at least. He always has taken care of me when we're there. By the way, for those for if you don't know, Mike D., it was his first week back at work because he had a severe vehicular accident where he broke all of his ribs on one side. And before you say, oh, no, the vehicle he was on was one of those downtown scooters. Those rental scooters.
You got hit?
I don't know. Bender didn't. Bender was on his way to see him, saying he's in the hospital. He's good. But I didn't get the full story because he was so busy last night. But he kind of yucked it off, like, yeah, I know I'm an idiot, but or whatever. So, but he has always taken care of him and get me to hook up. The line for him was too big that it wasn't even worth it for me to go get free beers of my choice. Big beers like Bourbon County Stout was on tap.
Oh wow!
And I didn't even want to wait the 30 minutes for that.
No.
So
the 4 things I don't like in life: cold weather, long lines, lots of Hoosiers, and my family. I mean, just 4 terrible things.
I like that you put your family in things you don't like in life.
Sometimes I just want to get away.
Yeah, well, with beer especially, they really infringe on your beer time.
Yes.
Well, and to your point about the weather, I thought maybe that might have been a problem for me too. It wasn't cold enough.
It was pretty warm. I mean, it was actually, that's why I thought it was so packed.
It didn't feel like Christmas.
No.
It didn't feel like Christmas in weather. It didn't feel like Christmas with a group of people. Like, we went with a bunch of our daughters and nieces, a niece, and then a friend of the family. So I had 4 kids with me, and then my wife, and it wasn't like we weren't. The reason I didn't want to go with Bender is because Bender always has like 12 people, and Bender thinks it's always great, but it's not. It's not. Because you're not associating. You realistically don't associate. And when you do, like where you said you guys kind of congregated at that end.
Yeah, we tried to congregate by the movie, but I still didn't talk to anybody because I was chasing my fucking kids
And that
around.
was worse this year because they had that stupid train that ran in circles. And my daughter, Hayden, my youngest daughter, was like, oh, I want to ride it. And we got up there and she goes, what's it do? I go, well, this is the line. She goes, I don't care. And I go, and it goes in this circle. And she goes, oh, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. I heard about the train. I thought like it would be pretty cool. And I looked at it, I'm like, that looks lame as shit.
Stupid.
I'm especially not waiting 30 minutes in line for it.
That was stupid. What they should do, they've got train tracks, and I'm not saying a real train because I know they can't do it, but train tracks will loop sections.
Yeah.
They should put some lights on the side of the building and have it drive from one section to the other. Around some buildings that you can't walk. You could only see it for the train,
Yeah.
Because it's all paved.
Those are real train tracks.
No, I'm saying it.
They still use them.
No, I know that. No, I'm saying they don't need real train tracks for what they were doing.
Gotcha.
And they could, but they can't like do too much because they still use them. But this thing could follow them to like go up, down, and back.
That
you know
campus
what I mean?
is so big.
Yeah, they could do something way cooler than what they did.
Yeah.
It felt to me like they've had enough crowds every year. Some CEO goes, we could be making more money on this thing.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
And also with the food, in past couple years, they've had this token situation where you get $15 worth of tokens for $10, or they're $1 a piece, something like that, something crazy. Well, one $10 purchase of the tokens might have been $20. I could be underselling it. $20 would fed me and my whole family, and the food was pretty good.
Yeah,
you didn't do that this year. Each little food stand was charged, and the lines were outrageous for those.
Right
inside.
When I first heard like there was tokens, like ugh. Tokens, that sounds terrible, but it does make things go faster because now you just hand a token, you get the stuff. Instead of, I got my debit card and you got to go swipe it and then tip and it just...
But it wasn't even as cool this year with that. But, so we didn't want...
humbug.
But we didn't want poop on Bender. But now I want to poop on Bender. What were you telling me earlier that Bender did to you? Bender, Mr. Butts a lot? Mr. Cut and Front?
Yeah. So... I see Bender walk in with our friend Andy, and I'm texting him like, "Hey, I'm in line. Like they're looking for me. I'm like waving to him like a fucking jackass." And they come up. I've been waiting in this line for like 10 minutes, and they come in and cut in, and I'm like, and my friend Andy's like, "Is anyone going to say anything?" I'm like, "Fucking cares what they do? Like,
yeah,
whatever. I mean, they do."
It's the holiday season.
Yeah. So we get to it's our turn, and Bender cuts in front of me to get served first. That's just totally clueless. He's like, "Oh, you gotta look out for number one." I'm like, what?
He said that?
He said something like that.
Oh, man. I gotta tell you, I love the guy, but I would not have let him get a beer at that point.
He had like the little Bender like chuckle. Like, you can't be mad at the guy.
You can. I mean, we'll forgive him. But you do have the right to tell him when he's being a toolbox.
Oh, I mean, I was annoyed, but I was like, I'm not going to kill the guy.
Because you could have you were going to let him get a beer no matter what.
There was two bartenders, so like, I had to wait an extra like 15 seconds. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, you were going to let him get a beer no matter what.
Yeah, of course.
But the blatant assumption and then the smart-ass remark is like, okay, we're friends. You're pushing it, pal.
Yeah, well, he could have at least said, "Hey, what do you want?"
Oh, even better.
Didn't even do that. And I'm not asking to buy my beer, but at least
order it, and here's $5 or whatever it was, the asinine price they were charging for beer. It was $10 for a Bourbon County, because that was the other thing. I'm like, it's a good beer, it's worth it, but I don't know when I'm going to wait and pay $10 to get that beer. So I said no.
Yeah. So what beers did you have last
Didn't
night?
drink one beer.
Wow. Okay.
Not one fucking beer.
I had a Hopadillo, which was
yeah,
and then an agave wheat, which was also
fine. Breckenridge agave wheat?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not sure who did the Hopadillo. Oh, it was like a Carzenbury? Never heard of it before.
Know. Someone else they bought out.
Exactly.
Yeah, so...
I'm like, hey, where's my Busch on tap, bitch?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that to their credit, I'll say the beer selection's getting better, if not the outline of the event.
It is, but worse. Like, one thing I got the beers inside the beer garden, and so I didn't see Bourbon County. I would have gotten it. But like, it's a cold night. When it's cold out, I want a stout. I want a porter.
Those were outside.
Yeah. All there was like their regular. I don't want a fucking Hoegaarden. Yeah. Well, really ever, but let alone on a winter's night.
Yeah, and certainly not outside of Oktoberfest, because that's when Hoegaarden's really in its wheelhouse.
That's his deal, huh?
Forget it. Forget it. You're not wanted right now, Hoegaarden. Go back to Germany. You kraut.
You take your unfiltered wheat bullshit. You get the fuck out.
Yeah. So that was. But you know what? On the upside, on the good note, though, it is the Christmas season. We watched recently. A Netflix original Christmas Chronicles with. Did we talk about that on here?
Is that the one with
Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked about it.
Is the E Street Band?
Yeah, we talked about that. So, but my daughter's still just gung ho on these Hallmark movies. I think we're gonna watch a Christmas movie tonight. We're gonna make a fire because it's back to being a little chilly today.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. I'm not getting here to wax on how the weather is in the world because we're not that old. Like, oh, that weather today, and I'm not here to push politics. But if you don't believe in global warming and the changing of the climates, you're insane. We once in the viewing area of St. Louis, there was a blizzard warning, a tornado warning, a weather advisory, and a thunderstorm warning all in the same day.
Yep.
And we had an 8-degree day with the wind chill this week, followed by a 70-degree day on the weekend, followed by tomorrow supposed to be in the 20s with the wind chill again. I mean, come on.
Yeah, my 4-year-old Johnny Bananas walked outside yesterday. It was 70 degrees and raining, but the sun was out, and he was just totally confused.
Blown away.
Why is it raining, Daddy? I'm like, well, I don't know. I really don't know.
Hey, that was we don't have to keep on in Christmas, but that was a good inadvertent segue that you didn't even know you did, so kudos to you. Speaking of Johnny Bananas, did you see how this year's challenge, this season's played out?
I did not.
So they once again had it to where...
I know, has it already happened?
Yes.
Okay, so I know the spoilers, so feel free to talk about it.
So yeah, they had it this year once again to where the winning team had an individual winner on it, and that winner could take all of the money, which was $1 million this year.
Yeah.
And Trashly, 2-time challenge winner now.
This is
and
terrible.
By the way,
she's a good heel though.
She's won the 2 easiest finals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I told Missy this. I said, you know how you know the finals, they backed off how challenging the finals are? They now only 1 episode.
Wow. Yeah.
1 episode. Used to, they were so intense. I mean, there are some challenges that, like, you would think that Army Rangers were like, ooh, that's fucked up, you know? But now, not as much. And
I was thinking of that one where CT almost died on the mountain.
Yeah. So she won with Hunter.
And she fucked him over.
Yeah, but she did have a point. Hunter threatened her, slut-shamed her, and threatened her family's life, to which he said, that is absolute bullshit, to which they cut to the scene where he goes, if that slut takes all the money, I'm coming after her family. I'm killing everyone.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so, I mean, Hunter is not a good person either.
No, he's just a dumb hick.
But, so, that was a good popular swerve again. I mean, she may have replaced Bananas, though, because she sucked. These Lavender ladies that came out of nowhere.
And that's what I lost on the Lavender ladies. I hate Shane.
Yeah, I hate Shane, too. Shane's one of the worst people in the show.
He's a terrible person.
And the new people have done something that I didn't think possible. To me, I don't know if they've done it to the millennials of this world, but they've made Bananas a better person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's not wrong. In fact, him and Devin on the wrap-up, part one of the wrap-up was this past week, and it ended with them getting in a fight. Maybe.
Okay.
And the whole thing is, apparently Devin's dad died before the show, and he came in as a mercenary, and Corey got drunk and tackled Tony from behind, slammed him on the concrete.
Oh, my God.
Corey got kicked off the show. His partner was Devin. Devin said they slipped, and he was dead set on he slipped. And then Bananas went off. He was going to fight Corey. He was like, "How you pieces of shit, fuck you guys." And then he calmed down. Well, Devin followed him. I don't know what the time lapse was, but it seemed like 40 minutes. Followed him around. Would not leave his sight in the house and was just jawing at him.
Yeah.
And wouldn't leave him alone. And finally, Banana goes, "You know what? What are you doing here anyway?" He goes, "What do you mean what am I doing here? I'm here to beat you." He goes, "No, your dad just died. Shouldn't you be home with your family? Because," he goes, "I hope the apple fell far from the tree because you're being an asshole right now." And then the whole house was like, "Oh, you talked about his dying dad." That wasn't a bad thing to say. Devin was being a prick.
Yeah.
So they got to the season wrap-up. And, so before that, Devin was sitting in the confessional, and he goes, it was wet because it was raining, and Corey got a little out of hand, but they slipped, and they showed him the video, the producer did, and he goes, "No," and they go, "What do you mean no?" He goes, "No, that wasn't a slip." He goes, "God damn it," and he goes, "Yeah, he did that." But him and Corey are buds now, even though they were vendettas on that.
Sure.
But so in the post thing, they said, "Bananas, now that you've had some time to reflect, what do you think about what you said?" And he goes, Banana goes, "No, first off, the way everyone thinks I said it, I didn't say it." And Bananas is one guy, even when he's drunk, he's not too over the top. Bananas is very calculating, and I believe him when he remembers everything.
Yeah.
And he repeated it.
He's talked about how he thinks of himself as a producer on the show.
Yeah. And so he goes, "What I said was, I hope your dad, or you are," he said, "I hope the apple fell far from the tree because no one would be proud of the way he was acting."
Yeah.
And they were like, he goes, and his dad would have thought he was an asshole. And then Devin teased at the end of the things like, "You don't ever say my dad's name again." Well, first off, he didn't. He said dad.
Yeah.
He didn't say his name. He doesn't know his fucking name.
Right.
Well, Devin stands up and gets in front of him. He's like, "Well, I'm going to fucking beat your head." And Bananas is sitting on the couch. He goes, "Swing. If you want me, swing." And everybody dives in to stop him, and that's how it ends.
Lame. Bananas would whoop that ass, too.
I don't know. I don't think Bananas is tough. I don't know, and I don't think Devin may be tougher than we think he is.
Maybe,
but I don't think either one of them are tough. I think Devin. I think everybody knows that Bananas is not a tough guy, so I think that's why they make the target on him, because he is kind of a asshole and he does win a lot. And I don't think they're that intimidated by him physically. And it's the same reason that even when
the guy's still ripped.
Yeah, but he's not very big.
But neither's Devin.
Devin's way bigger than him.
Is he?
Yeah, Devin's like a head taller than him. Yeah, he's
okay.
And and it's the same way when CT's being a prick, no one jaws with him.
Well, CT is a big man,
and they're scared of him.
Yeah,
no one's scared of Bananas, and Bananas is right. Without him, there'd be no Devin. Devin got popular on the show in terms of on-screen conflict.
Yeah,
because of Bananas.
Some of that. Devin is a pretty charming guy, and he's pretty funny.
I don't think he's funny. I think he too is a good heel, and I think he plays it. But I think some of the stuff he says to Bananas and stuff is ridiculous. I
liked Devin until he started going crazy on Bananas. Like, it got weird, like the obsession.
Yeah.
Well, I think I might be done with the challenge, only because this season I just couldn't get into, and I've read a little bit about next season, and it's kind of a fresh meat season, and just like, why are they bringing in all these Big Brother people?
Well, Bananas is back. He posted on there that he is back.
I know CT's back too, but I don't know.
And CT's getting back in shape. By the way, he was in better shape on this one. He's shown himself.
Yeah, but he went home early.
Well, that wasn't his fault.
I know, but
Veronica was his teammate, and Veronica may be the worst teammate of all time. The way she handled it.
Well, I know she doesn't dig men, but I wish she did because she's fine.
Yeah, but she was as lazy and as do nothing as it gets.
Yeah.
There was more bad guys that came out of this season than there was heroes. That's for darn sure.
Seems like it's like that every year.
Of all people, I think Cara Maria's partner, who I hated before, I can't remember what her name. Marie. She's a bigger hero than she was before because she was a quote unquote lavender lady.
Yeah.
And she ditched them because she saw the bullying of Cara Maria. Now Cara Maria can be a bitch, but they go after her because Cara Maria is not a girl that is friends with a lot of girls.
Yeah,
and they go after her because of that.
Cara Maria is weird.
She's a different person.
But I feel like, and Cara Maria can be condescending at times.
But that's her biggest problem. Is she feels entitled because I'm a vet. I'm the only girl to win, and she wears that as a badge.
She does, and it can
There's
be a little
no humility.
But Cara Maria has never really taken personal shots at people.
No.
She's never called a girl ugly or fat.
And her new boyfriend in real life and on the show, Paulie, he
started. They banging?
Yeah, they're together in real life. So he.
I always had a thing for Cara Maria, so good for him.
He started as a bad guy on the show. I hated him when he first came on as a mercenary, but by the end of it, I was like, I'm on Team Paulie now. You know, because he said, I think who is his bad guy in this was who he didn't like. Oh, Kyle. Kyle, who's came over from Big Brother Europe or whatever. Kyle sucks. He's the guy that used Cara Maria, and and they caught him on camera, kind of being a little shady. But Paulie's like, if I see him, whether it's on the show or not, I don't mind getting kicked off. I'm going to beat his ass. And I think he will.
Oh, yeah, he will.
And Kyle is a complete toolbox. I say Johnny's not tough. Kyle's even worse.
Oh, he looks like he would just get his ass kicked. He's so lanky. And
he's got hair plugs, which Shane called him out on Twitter for that. But,
he fucked a lot of girls on that show. I don't know how.
Brad also became a bit of a good guy in this season.
Even though he's banging that child?
Oh, they're not banging, I don't think, anymore.
Oh, she...
Brittany?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was weird.
It was very weird.
He's ripped, but his hairline is receding. It's time to give up on it, and he won't. And she's a former beauty queen with a fugly face, so it's like they kind of were odd. Like, you want to say they're both good-looking, but they're not.
I'll tell you guys who made a huge face turn is Zach. I used to hate Zach. He's great.
Oh, yeah, Zach's another one. Paulie wanted to go after Zach and Brad, but he didn't. He backed off and changed targets because I don't think he wants any part of Zach.
Zach would kill him.
Yeah, Zach is so quiet, and I do think Zach legitimately can fight. But...
Well, remember, too, there's no doubt in my mind that Zach would not have passed a piss test in years
earlier,
past. Yeah. Like, do you remember that time where he beat, what was the guy's name, like Calcutta or something like that?
Oh, yeah, Cutta.
And he, threw his helmet and almost killed...
And it bounced all the way up.
He would have killed somebody.
And then he lost because he turned out he broke the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went instead of his partner.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so...
He reminded me of Latimer from the program.
He,
Starting...
Place at the table.
Starting defense.
Place at the table.
The program's awesome.
Anyway, this is not an episode of Challenge Accepted, but it was a good season.
We need to do an episode where we talk nothing but football movies because I want to talk 20 minutes on the program.
How about our let's do a Super Bowl weekend episode?
Oh, that'd be great. I want to talk about Joe Kane.
Kane is able. The greatest Heisman slogan of all time. Kane is able. That's the best. Let's use a story in which one brother killed the other. It's our slogan.
I know you. You're the one who killed my mom in a drive-by.
Football episode. Put it down. I'm putting it in pen. Super Bowl weekend.
Top 5.
Yeah, greatest Super Bowl. No, okay. What we'll do is we'll do not just the top 6 Super Bowl movies. We're going to do the top 6. We're going to rank in order from 6 to 1 what movie quarterback you would want leading your team in a 2-minute drill, which will be good. Don't even start it now. The wheels are turning. I saw them.
Well, I've had this conversation recently, so.
And then we'll do maybe even do. I mean, I don't think we need to do defenses, but we could or just the 6 greatest teams, not movies, but teams. The 6 greatest teams. So that'll be a good one.
Oh, I'm already excited about that.
Does what's that one Disney one where the
there's a lot of good actors and actresses. Halle Berry's in the program.
Well, shit.
Omar Epps.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, hell, you got skinny Ryan Gosling in
Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans?
Yeah.
I mean, right away, the high school teams have to take a back seat to these pro teams.
Well, there's no way any of these high school teams could beat the Texas State Armadillos.
Yeah. Oh, is that with Kathy Ireland kicking field goals and what was his name? Scott Bakula at QB.
Damn right.
That's a good show. That's a good movie.
Oh, it's classic.
I can't wait. That's put it in. We're doing that, and of course we will not want your life. I give it a 10. This episode's getting a 10.
Hey, Bud Vilmer won 24 district titles, I believe.
That's right. He was a stud. We've chronicled it a bunch on this show too. Speaking of other segues, and we're not going to spend any time on this other than me saying Lamar lost their bid for the state title, so both streaks ended this year.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm broken up. I think I'll drink a beer.
73 straight wins?
No, 56 in a row, or 57 in a row, and 7 straight state titles.
Who they lose to?
I don't remember. I don't even know the team. I've never heard of them. I can't remember their names, but they didn't even make it to the state title. They made it to the round before.
Okay.
I know they lost the regular season to. I don't remember. Someone good also, an undefeated team, and I don't know if that team went on to win. I don't know. But it was a hell of a run.
Yeah,
7
absolutely.
straight state titles. I mean, next year though, if they go like 6-3, do you think, man, what a disappointment? Like, oh, this sucks. Listen, sucks.
Is Lamar Radio going to be calling for the coach's head?
I hope not. I mean, I think that guy's earned lifetime membership to the Sizzler or whatever. I can't even remember what our fucking diner was called.
Did you ever
there.
watch Friday Night Lights?
Not the TV show. I need to watch it.
Every time Dylan football lost a football game on the radio, it'd be like, Coach gonna get fired.
That's the way the movie was,
yeah.
though, too. I mean, that's that's what is that school? That's what was their high school?
The movie? I never saw the movie.
The TV show. What was their high school?
It was Dillon, Texas.
Oh, was it Dillon, Texas?
Yeah,
and
Dillon Panthers.
Yeah. Oh, it was a Permian Panthers in the movie.
Yes.
Permian and the.
Except in the season 3 finale, the town is too big, so they bring back East Dillon's football team. So
of course they do. That sounds a lot like Riverdale. I mean, that's a straight out of Riverdale plot. You gotta watch that show if you've never done it. Don't watch it. Just take my word for it. Take my word for it.
Isn't Riverdale the show where it's like Archie and all that?
And dark and more adult and edgy, yeah. But like at one point the schools combine. It's
like there's the only way to watch that show is like there's a scene where like Jughead's like heating up the spoon as he's about to inject it into his arm.
It's not far off from what I mean. It is as soap opera as it gets, and sexual as it gets.
When I get that feeling, Archie, I want that sexual.
Archie's a player. He loses his virginity to a teacher in the first season.
Does he do a 3-way at Betty and Veronica?
No, he.
Who read Archie comics?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody ever? How many Archie comics did you sell when you had the comic book store?
Not a lot, but I will say that Archie well, let me rephrase that. They also did a lot of cool spin-offs like Archie versus the Marvel Universe to where he kills them all.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. They've done grown-up versions of it before the TV show got dark.
How did Archie kill Marvel?
I never read it, but supposedly it's hilarious.
Okay.
He accidentally backs into killing them all.
With his 57 Chevy or whatever.
Whatever. I mean, I read Archie comics here and there as a kid. Getting those like 25-cent, Reader's Digest versions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an old, long-time running comic. Archie is the asshole of that world, though.
Is he?
I mean, in the comic, yeah, he's stringing 2 girls along. He's the good girl, or good guy, all-American, and he's supposed to be the best guy, but he literally is playing both girls.
So who should he have picked, Betty or Veronica?
Well, Betty's the girl next door, but Veronica looks like the kind that might take it in the exit. So,
hey now,
I mean, she's the naughty one. And in the TV show, they do it the same way, except they're both. There's no good person on the TV show.
Yeah,
they're all dark.
Jughead?
Oh yeah, Jughead is a good guy, and Archie's a good guy, but they do some bad things.
Sure.
Yeah, but
isn't that what makes our characters in life morally complex?
Yeah, that's it. What a weird show. Luke Perry's Archie's dad.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, and
Dylan McKay has got to be top 100 characters of TV history of all time.
Oh, he's a good one. And what's his name? The bad guy from God, what's his name? You'll know his name. The bad guy from Scream.
Matthew Lillard?
No, the other one. He is.
I'm out.
He is Jughead's dad, the good-looking guy that takes Neve Campbell's virginity in Scream.
Oh yeah,
yeah, him.
That guy.
He's got a weird name. He's got a weird name.
It's not Skeet Ulrich.
Skeet Ulrich.
There we go.
Good job. Yeah, Skeet, motherfucker. So, yeah.
So, hey, let's... want to talk about music?
Let's talk about music, and then we'll wrap up on some sad news, I guess.
All right. So I've been doing what I call deep dives lately. And
when you do that, do you use a snorkeling equipment, or do you go straight scuba?
Just YouTube. So I've been deep diving into...
It's an odd choice for diving.
I've been deep diving into the catalogs of classic rock bands and artists.
Okay.
So I used to be really into classic... I mean, when I was in high school and early parts of college, I had almost every album. I would go to Street Side Records.
I was really into Steely Dan before I think they went too mainstream.
Donald Fagen has got the voice of a god. Let me
Steely
tell
Dan's
you.
a good band, man.
Oh, yeah, they got some good stuff.
Anyway.
So I used to have all these albums. I would go spend... $50 a week sometimes at Street Side Records back when that was this thing. And so I've been re-listening to like Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones. And
well, you can't go wrong there.
No. But I did do one that was interesting and I alluded to on our Facebook page. Michael Jackson has a lot of crappy music. Like, a lot of crappy music.
The catalog is extensive.
And bad.
Well, there's some classics in there, too.
There is. So... all right, so Michael Jackson, I think, has about 10 albums, all right? Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad are all pretty solid.
That's just Michael Jackson albums. He has the Jackson 5, which are all,
Well, I was aware that he had 4 albums before Off the Wall when he was still at Motown.
Yeah.
Most of those are pretty bad.
Oh, man, I tell you what, though. Don't stop till you get enough.
That's on Off the Wall.
That is Off the Wall. That's a good song. That's a good album.
Off the Wall's good.
Yeah, it's a great album.
Thriller is top 10 best album of all time. Yeah. Bad is when things start getting a little dicey.
But it's got a couple of good songs.
Oh, no. Bad's, don't get me wrong. Bad is still pretty good. But then shit gets weird. So I was reading, Dangerous was the next one.
Yeah,
Dangerous
it had Smooth Criminal. It had...
Black and White. And Remember the Time.
Yeah, those were good songs.
Yeah. But then, every song of his seems to be about leaving him alone and how the media...
Well, there's one song that says, just leave me alone!
Exactly. And the media's out to get him. And this is not an original idea. I should have said it was, because you're never going to do the research, people. Who am I kidding? He kind of sounds Trumpish. The way he's, blaming everybody for coming into his life. And I started remembering...
I wonder if Trump would claim a friendship, because I bet they ran in the same circles at one point.
Oh, they did.
Because they were both mega in the 80s.
They did.
You know?
So, Michael Jackson really never had, good friends. He would just have washed-up celebrities come and hang out at the Neverland Ranch.
Yeah.
And
some of the people that considered close, that was close to him, unfortunately, were young kids.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the mystique and for the accusations.
I don't think he ever diddled kids. I really don't.
He was a creepy
but
dude.
It's fucking weird. And he had a lot of sexual predator type
tendencies.
Yeah. So his little kids that he was friends with were usually from broken homes.
There's a good chance that Mike was taken advantage of, and I don't mean by his dad and them, because we know he emotionally abused them.
Oh, he physically abused the shit out of them,
physically too.
Yeah.
But once he journeyed out on his own, there's a good chance that some producers and stuff might have played, tooted on the skin flute in order to get. Who knows? Who knows?
He was a bad businessman. He spent a lot of money on stupid shit, and
he bought the Beatles catalog.
That was smart.
Yeah, it was smart, but not the way he did it. And just buying it outright right away. And he only did it because he was, quote-unquote, married to Priscilla.
Yeah, and Paul was doing the same thing. He was buying up stuff here and there, and then he's like, I just bought the Beatles stuff. And then he had a falling out with Paul McCartney apparently over that. And there's no way Lisa Presley and him ever fucked.
Lisa, not Priscilla. I said Priscilla. That's her mom, but Lisa,
There's no way they ever had sex.
No, that was all staged. That was an old-school Hollywood wedding where they needed to make the lead actor not look gay.
Yep. And he definitely bleached his skin.
Oh, there's no way around that. Him and Sammy Sosa. Sammy Sosa can't lie about it either.
No.
Sammy Sosa is even weirder than Michael, because I could kind of see the way
Michael... I don't know. Sammy Sosa had sleepovers with little children.
No, I'm just saying, with Michael, I could see that he grew up in a time period and was famous when being black was extra hard.
Yeah.
And... he was a weird dude already. Sammy seemed like a normal guy, and he just went crazy and bleached himself.
Well, so I wonder if Sammy had the same thing with Michael Jackson, where Michael Jackson had that condition and just basically wanted to make his skin all that color and then took it a little too far.
Yeah, I think the condition you're looking for is nut job.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're looking for.
Hey, when it comes to bleaching, don't stop till you get enough.
Yeah. Yeah, just leave me alone. Back to that. I mean, yeah, that was a weird,
Well, I was watching like a documentary that came out with him in like the early 90s where this British tabloid guy followed him around for a week. And like they're sitting outside and Michael Jackson's pointing to a tree. He's like, yeah, that's a tree that inspires me.
Oh, yeah.
And he like goes up and climbs up the tree. Come on, are you coming? It's like, this is a 40-year-old man. He's climbing up in a tree.
Well, good kudos to him. He didn't look like he could pick up a fucking fork when he was 40 because he was so paranoid of germs and he was so frail looking.
Yeah.
It looked like whatever dancing he did in his big shows sapped his energy until the next big show.
Yep.
So if he could climb a tree, hey, more power to him. You go climb trees, Michael. Where does he rank in the pantheon of most famous musicians of all time?
Most famous?
Yeah. Is he top 2, top 3? Is he out of the top 5? I mean, it's
as far as famous goes,
it's Paul McCartney.
I think Michael Jackson's more famous than Paul McCartney.
You think he is?
We're just talking about pure fame.
Pure fame. With his epic level, do you think that he was bigger than the Beatles in terms of fame? It's close.
I think he's probably number 1.
So, yeah, Michael might be number 1. Elvis.
But remember,
and I'm only saying McCartney because he's the last living superstar Beatle. I know.
The reason I say Michael Jackson's number 1 of all time is because Michael Jackson did so many world tours.
Oh, yeah.
Where I don't know if Elvis ever did a show outside the U.S.
And before anybody, and I know Eugene's really awesome at pointing out, listening to the show and pointing out some of answer our questions when we're too lazy to look them up.
Yeah.
When I mean the last living superstar Beatles, Ringo's not as famous as Paul. Paul's massive. Ringo is still a Beatle. He's still big, but it's Sir Paul McCartney.
Right.
That's
a good question.
You're
just talking about people themselves.
I'm just talking about who is epic level fame, who has reached it, and there's Michael Jackson famous, there's Muhammad Ali famous. It's and that's what you're compared to. If you're an athlete, you're compared. Are you as famous as Muhammad Ali?
Yep.
And the answer is no one has gotten that famous. There's people that have skimmed it, like LeBron skimmed it, Michael Jordan has skimmed it, but Ali though went to other countries that didn't have TVs and they knew who he was.
Yeah.
He went to Zaire and they were like, they didn't know that he was the bad guy or the good guy.
I think you can make a case that the most famous athlete in world history is probably Pele.
Pele, as famous as he was overseas, was not that as famous here. And I know kids know him here, but Ali got just as famous around the world as he did in the United States.
So what about like Lionel Messi?
Messi's big, but again, in soccer, I'm not shitting on soccer because my daughter's in it and I love it.
Yeah.
They're still not as big here as people think. Ali Ali was an ambassador to countries for the United Nations. He is massive appeal. I don't
know if you're giving Messi enough credit.
Messi's big, but they it's also almost impossible for their fame to reach what it is that of Ali because times are way different. Ali stood up for something.
Yeah.
And if Messi were to stand up for something, half the people in the world would shit on him. It's just a different world now.
But we're just talking about people know him, not necessarily that they like him.
But that made Ali more famous, though, too.
Oh, yeah. He had, I think most of his big fights were not even in the U.S.
That was when
Thriller Manila.
Yeah,
and then,
the Rumble in the Jungle,
not even in the U.S., so.
But
you're right, though. I don't know if he could maybe even fight back then.
No, he could. He got 100% cleared. George, that was one of the big things. Joe Frazier really lobbied to get him. They were actually pretty close outside, even though they wanted to fight. They were actually very cordial. And then once he got his license back, he turned on Joe and started making fun of him being stupid. And Joe really took it to heart.
Yeah,
he was
did.
like, that. I did everything I could to help this guy, and he's shitting all over me.
Yeah,
and. It's one of those things. Be careful what you ask for because this is what Ali's going to do.
Right.
Tyson got big, but he was never that big.
No. Definitely.
Tyson was pretty big, though. He's the second most famous boxer of all time, probably. It's hard. There's a lot of Hispanic fighters that are pretty big, but it's Ali, then it's Tyson. George Foreman.
I was going to say, it'd be your Foreman or Tyson for number 2.
Foreman didn't get popular until late, and at the time he got popular, it was like because he's the lovable boxer.
Tyson was pretty popular in the 70s. Before he got his ass kicked in the jungle.
He was terrifying. There's a difference between being terrifying and being popular. He was.
Well, are we talking about popular being liked or popular as people know who they are?
Knowing who they are. Foreman got, and the reason all of Foreman's fame then in the world, not in the United States, but in the world, came from fighting Ali.
Okay.
I mean, there's an entire documentary about 7 guys that are millionaires because they fought Ali.
Yeah.
To this day. It's like, I can't remember the name of it. It's a great documentary. It's like, thanks, Ali, for fighting me. It's like Ken Norton. It's all kinds of guys. And they're like, hey, my kids didn't have to want for anything because he agreed to fight me.
Yeah.
You know, and they cash that check every year that they're still alive. They go talk at engagements.
Hey, if it wasn't for Muhammad Ali, we'd never have Rocky, the Rocky film series.
Yeah, it was Ali and Jerry Cooney.
Was that his name?
And that was what it was based on, Jerry Cooney. And they were older. It was a lot later in life. And, and Stallone,
he was still champ.
Yeah, but Stallone watched. He watched Jerry Cooney take a beating for 12 rounds, and he's like, "I'm gonna write a movie over this." You know, The Great White Hope.
Selling movies and books and TV for years and years.
Still doing it. Creed 2 is now one of the set.
I need to see that.
It and Wreck-It Ralph set the record made a record-breaking weekend for November films.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Although also coming out of Creed 2, I haven't watched it yet. I really want to watch it. Michael B. Jordan. Love him, and I think his best performance was he was the biggest star in Black Panther. He was the best bad guy, one of the best bad guys in Marvel Universe scene. We've talked about it on the show. His Fruitvale Station still a very good movie, incredible movie.
And he's also awesome in Friday Night Lights.
He's awesome in Friday Night Lights. He's awesome on Parenthood. He's awesome. He's awesome in everything he does.
Nobody plays anger and vulnerability better than Michael Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
No, he's just Michael Jordan.
Yeah, well, but I will say this. Michael B. Jordan, or Michael Jordan, whatever you want to call him, he's great in everything he does. But his next endeavor is going to turn him into the next Mickey Rourke if he actually wants to do it. He thinks he can box. And he says, he called out Roy. Somebody asked him, or somebody said, hey, if you could box one guy today, who would it be? He said, Roy Jones Jr. He's one of the greatest of all time. He goes, and I know when a younger Roy Jones Jr. in his prime, he'd probably kick my butt. He'd knock me out. He goes, but I think I can hang with him now. Roy Jones Jr. is 50 years old, and he would murder Michael B. Jordan.
He's got to have a lot of weight on him.
Roy Jones or Michael B.?
Well, didn't Roy Jones fight heavyweight?
No. He was a cruiserweight. He was a 185, and then he, at the end of his career, got up to 205.
Okay.
And Michael B. Jordan is, rest assured, I bet that dude weighs every bit of 190 in solid muscle now. Okay. And neither guy, by the way, would want to pee in a bucket because neither of those, because Roy's been fighting in Russia his last couple fights.
Okay.
And I don't. Me and Missy have had this talk a couple times. Dusty, friend of the show, Dusty will attest to it, and Joe Rogan talks about it. If you think that these extra ripped guys in these movies in Hollywood, these guys that turn it around for them, aren't on steroids, you're out of your mind.
Whoa, you saying The Rock ain't legit?
There is no repercussions. And it's not, and steroids is a stigmatism. Some form of performance-enhancing drugs, they're on.
Yeah.
Because you can't look like that. And The Rock, love the guy. He sleeps an hour a day. You got to be on something to do that.
Yeah.
So, like Joe Rogan brought it up too. They played it, soundbite of him talking and Roy Jones responding. Yeah, Roy's like, if Michael B. Jordan really wants to fight, I'll fight anybody. You got my number. I've talked to the kid. He goes, and I don't mind telling you my strategies. Just because he goes, I could go out and finish him in a round, but I'd probably let him go 6 rounds just to know that he should never say this again.
Wow.
And you're talking about one of the 3 or 4 greatest boxers in history. I don't give a shit if he's 50 years old.
Yeah.
Roy Jones Jr. once played a professional basketball game in the morning and knocked a guy out in the 4th round at night.
That's awesome.
He was so bored when he was on top of his game that he once fought a guy for 3 rounds with his hands behind his back, and when the guy charged in, he tagged him and knocked him out. And even at 50, and even Roy goes, I'm sure the guy's in better shape than me. He's 20, and he's in his 20s, He goes, but he ain't boxing.
Yeah. He ain't boxing. One shot and see you later.
And Mickey Rourke made that mistake. He got so into boxing when he was a young guy. That's what happened to his face is he started taking all those pro fights in Mexico and all over the place. He just got his ass whooped.
Yeah.
Badly.
They started doing painkillers.
Well, and they set up tomato cans for him for like 5, 6, 7 fights until he started fighting guys that were just on the edge of becoming world class.
Yeah.
And then they murdered him. Murdered him. It's like, don't do it, Michael B. You're beautiful. Yeah. You're a sexy man.
He is a sexy man.
You are a sexy man. You're the American Idris Elba, to put it in vendor terms.
I agree 100%. Yeah. That's a great analogy.
Do not box. Idris Elba, like I said, if you've never seen the documentary, had a great one on Nat Geo, I think, where he became a fighter and fought. He did it one time, and he goes, I've done it. I'm done.
Yeah.
And Idris Elba also bigger than Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, he looks like a big guy.
He's a big guy. So just don't fight. Don't go box. But anyway, so that's where I was bitching at. But hey, let's speaking of people getting untimely demise. Well, I guess this would be timely demise. There's no smooth segue here at all.
That's my Bush.
Yeah, George H.W. Bush passed away this week.
What will his legacy be? To you. And you ponder over that while I get us beers.
All right. So his legacy, I mean, for me, I think, and you know, it's hard to say, but in the world we live in, I'll take a DBA, by the way. The world we live in, SNL was getting real big again at that time. So his legacy, to me, what I remember the most is Dana Carvey being George Bush. It's Dan Quayle mispronouncing things. It's, you know.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because it seems like a lot of impressions now come off as mean, or at least the person who's being made fun of is mean. Now, would I call Alec Baldwin's Trump impression mean? No, probably not. But
it's pointed. It's definitely pointed to. They definitely are. They're making as big a political statement as they ever have with it.
But I feel with Carvey, it was basically the joke was he was laughing with Bush.
And Carvey...
And Bush really apparently liked the impression.
Well, and Carvey was so goddamn good.
Why they heard it?
Yeah, I mean, Carvey was a master at voices.
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, not that anybody's bad per se. I think Baldwin's Trump is good. But Dana Carvey pulled off every impression and every voice he did with, like, at a master level class.
Dana Carvey's the top 5 SNL of all time.
He's pretty damn good.
Yeah. So my legacy with Bush, just kind of quick hits. He's the first president I remember. You probably remember Reagan. You're a little older
I do.
than
No,
me.
I went and saw Reagan. I saw him at the Show Me Center in Cape. I actually got to walk by and say hi to him.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah. And stand out in front of Air Force One with my picture.
Is that the only president you've ever seen? With your own eyes?
No, Bush. I got Bush Sr. And
Okay.
I haven't got anyone after that. But
okay, I've never seen a president with my own eyes.
I was one of 50 fifth graders across the state that got picked for my academics at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did see a pope. Do you think it's crazy to see a pope with your own eyes or a president?
I think it's rare to see a pope.
Yeah.
But I myself, even though I'm, my stances on religion, I think it would be cooler to see a pope.
Gotta be honest, that was one of the most miserable 12 hours of my life.
Oh, I can see that too. Yeah, I can see that.
Like being stuck in a prison. Anyway, but you called on the Dana Carvey impression. He's the only one-term president we've had in our lifetime. Hopefully the second one. Yeah. And he'll be remembered for no new taxes and the Persian Gulf War. And I think he's the last president before things started getting really nasty bipartisan. Like, you could a lot of Democrats would say they didn't like George Bush for his policies, but not a lot would say they didn't like the person.
Yeah, I don't think George Bush was an unlikable person. He had a great story when it come to war. He wasn't a fake person. Mm-hmm. So many presidents, and you can blame Clinton for this, even regardless of whether I liked him or not, or my politics. You could probably blame Clinton for this. I mean, there's a correlation between Clinton to Trump. I mean, we started letting images sell with Clinton, even George Bush Jr. There was I don't know if people remember, but there was a little bit his war record was a little doctored.
Very doctored. He had a DWI.
And Obama definitely wasn't as
let's see the birth certificate.
Well, I think with Obama too, he was the first guy we had probably that didn't need help marketing, because Obama was so goddamn charismatic. And even if you hate him, you're a fool, and you're lying to yourself. You didn't think he was the most charming president ever elected.
Oh, I think even his biggest detractors would admit that he was a fantastic orator.
Yeah. So, and then Trump obviously is the extreme version of that. But I think GW, though, was probably the last guy that was just a true politician that made it on just his past alone. Guys don't make it on their past alone anymore.
Right. I mean, he was he never won a Senate seat, but he lost twice. But he was a U.S. rep and just a stalwart in the Republican Party and
a war hero. Rich from
From oil?
And
we talked about it pre-air. One thing I don't understand is people I've seen on Twitter just write some nasty, horrible things about him and like burn in hell, George, and all this stuff. And yeah, I get that.
Yeah, see, I don't understand that either.
Well, I mean, he did make the call to go to war with Iraq, and then people will say either he shouldn't have done it in the first place, or he didn't go far enough by taking out Hussein and just ending it, which caused a lot of problems in the Middle East. So, we're still dealing with today, 26 years later, or whatever, 27 years later. But he did it. The American Disabilities Act was under his watch.
Yeah. He did. You know what? He was a Republican, but it was at a time where being a Republican versus Democrat wasn't as divisive as it was now.
Yeah, and now it's just
it got worse. And again, it got worse after him.
Right. He's the last, and that's why I say he's the last one where it's like, yeah, I may not like the guy's policies, but I don't think he's a bad person. And now it's like, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat,
and by
you're
the
a fucking
way,
horrible person.
By the way, was not a fan of Trump.
No,
was not a fan of Trump. And from all stories, got along with Clinton and Obama. Mm-hmm. We know he got along with his son. I mean, it's a son, but
it'll be interesting when Trump is not president anymore.
How many living presidents do we have, by the way?
5.
We had 6, and now we have 5.
We got Carter, Bush, Obama, Clinton, and Trump.
Wow,
I think the record is 7.
Whoa, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible, especially for all the 2-term presidents that there were.
Well, the record was first set, I think, when Lincoln was president, because a lot of those guys were first-termers.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then it might be 6. Anyway, it'll be interesting that they've, when they retire, they all kind of become buddies and do a lot of humanitarian effort.
Yeah.
Will Trump be in that little fraternity? I
don't think so. I don't think he wants to be either.
No,
I think he assumes he's better than them.
Yeah. No,
and they probably assume that he sucks.
It's going to be an interesting 2 years. I don't think he'll end up getting impeached.
I just don't think he'll be reelected.
I don't know if he'll run.
I think he will. Oh, God. I think if our podcast was ever big enough for him to even hear that would make him run. I wonder if
I think Trump is smarter than people give him credit for, and I wonder if it's getting to a situation where he had in Missouri a few years ago where all of a sudden Matt Blunt just like, I'm not running for governor.
Well,
everyone's like, why? Well, apparently there were a lot of skeletons that he didn't want to get out. And at some point, Trump is going to have to deal with those skeletons.
Howard Stern said it again apparently a month ago, said, because he's friends with Donald Trump, the man. He said, he goes, I know because he's told me I don't enjoy being president. And one, if you're Trump, why are you telling people that? And two, I kind of believe he's telling people that,
I think, I don't know. I don't hate Donald Trump as much as some people do. And I feel like you feel kind of the same way as me. I think if Donald Trump...
I don't hate Donald Trump as much. I very much am against Donald Trump POTUS. Yeah. I think he's an awful president. I don't think he's as awful as a person as everyone rallies.
No, I think if Donald Trump came down these steps into our studio right now,
he'd be lovely.
He would be a very nice gentleman and would try to charm the pants off us.
You and I have had this on a micro scale with Eric Greitens before. We
did have it with Eric Greitens.
We were not fans of that guy. We ended up seeing him with his family at the pool, and he talked to us, and he was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And
charming.
Yeah, and you could see why he got to where he was.
Yeah.
And Trump would be the same way.
You have to be. You have to be that lovable to get there.
I mean, look where I'm at in life because I'm so damn lovable.
You are pretty lovable.
I'm the host of the single best podcast to originate from St. Peters, Missouri.
That's probably true, actually.
Yeah, I don't know how many come out of St. Peters. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we'd have to look it up, and I apologize to other podcasts. I don't know if you're out there. And if you're out there, yell at us. We'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Come on our show.
Hey,
make us better.
Early New Year's resolution. We want to have more guests on this show.
I sent out an Eagle call, and that's how we met the ABC guys. I'll send another one out. And I just talked to the...
we haven't talked about this on air. I think that Lexi interview was one of the best we've ever had.
I was thinking of the Mount Rushmore of our guests so far, and I don't think we've had them all, but I definitely think that Lexi and Second Shift, Steve Kreitz, that's two of our best guests. And I was thinking about it because I think I'm going to really press Steve Ewing, because he said he would do it.
Okay.
And I was thinking...
who is our Mount Rushmore of guests? It's got to be those two you mentioned.
Those two.
Got to be Schilling.
Yeah, Schilling. Well, the problem with Schilling is that we're just so close to him. It's like it's hard to like differentiate shilling the friend from shilling the guest. If that makes sense to you,
it does.
Like Andy Slowey was still a pretty good. Our first outing was still a good guest.
Yeah. God, that's a recall.
Ken Calcaterra was a pretty good guest.
That was a good one. Yeah,
it was a pretty good guest. I enjoyed his work. Yeah.
And we can't forget Shane.
Shane again. We're getting pretty close to Shane. Shane's a good dude.
We love you too, Cup guys.
Yeah, and those guys have. Well, I really want to do the comic book challenge, the trivia thing.
Oh, Drew.
Yeah, with Drew.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, and Bender versus Bender. And I don't know if you saw, Eugene said he'd like to get into it, but Eugene and I, Jay and I, would have to go against each other because those guys are outgunned because there's way more years of comic book reading in R2.
I like it.
And not that Drew may be a comic book savant, I don't know, but I could tell you I've been reading them since I could read.
I don't know if he was a savant, but I think he whooped Bender's ass all up and down the court.
It'd be fun to see, and I still want to do it. That'll be a good time. Hey, but speaking of people that were more likable than history or than recent media wants to let you know in Bush, and people that are not as likable as they really think they are in Trump, let's go to someone that's absolutely no redeemable qualities to him right now. Before we sign off, Kareem Hunt.
So, hey, I hope you all picked up Spencer Ware.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's how terrible of a human being I am. First thing I hear is when that news breaks is not, oh, that's fucking terrible, or God, this guy needs to get out of the league. It's, oh shit, where do I not have Spencer Ware in a league? Which I picked up in our very own league.
And there's a lot of leagues where Spencer Ware was taken. Because
because you should always, hey, fantasy football tip for you all out there: if you have a major investment in a running back, you need to have their handcuff.
Yeah. Well, there was no such thing as a handcuff for Hunt, but you need to have their
Spencer Ware was.
Insurance policy is what Ware was.
Insurance policy.
I got to tell you, I watched the video probably 12 times.
Yeah.
You can't hear any audio with it, right, because it's security cam.
And they're claiming that he was called the N-word.
Yes. I think that both parties involved, him and her, I think they're both probably not the best people in the world.
Yep.
She was up in his room after hours. Apparently, the stories that are coming out is that she wouldn't put out, and he told her to get out, and she got insulted by it. I don't have a reason to believe or disbelieve that.
Sure.
I believe a lot of that goes on with athletes. I think Mike Tyson was a victim of that in his day. I've always said, and I'll go to my grave thinking Tyson didn't truly rape that girl. He got violent with that girl probably because his version of sex was probably rougher. But that girl, a beauty pageant contestant came into his room at 2:30 in the morning, and she thought it was just for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Bullshit. And I'll say the same to this girl. But what I will say, that even if this girl is a little bit of a villain herself, Kareem Hunt is the ultimate bad guy in the situation because he kicked a woman. And he probably would have done a lot worse had people not held him back. That was a man with destruction in his eyes and his body language. He was going after her to do harm.
Yep.
And even if she sucks, even if she did drop the N-bomb on him, even if she was just a shitty woman that was like, your dick is small, you're a piece of shit, I hope you break an ankle, just kicking her out and saying, bye, Felicia, is good enough. That girl will be a piece of shit her whole life.
Right.
He tried to beat her up like she was a grown man.
Yep.
That's a bad guy. Has there ever been a player more impactful, more important to their team get released during the season?
During the season, not that I can think of. Because Adrian Peterson was preseason, right?
It was preseason.
That's the only one that comes to mind.
There's an argument that he might have been on the downslope already anyway. He'd had some injuries.
Yeah. No.
By the way, he still whoops his kids, he said.
Oh, my God.
With a belt.
I read that, too.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
My buddy Dusty, who we just referenced earlier, the Dean of Rap, he said he's a big Chief fan, and he said, I am no longer going to watch football. He goes, I'm tired of the bad people. And Dusty is not a person that is like...
Now, when the Chiefs did something that was pretty commendable by just cutting him, did he feel good about that?
That's another thing I want to talk about. Did they do something that was commendable? Because he was just put on the unable to play commissioner's exemption list.
I think so. And here's why. If it was a Ray Rice situation where Ray Rice was at the downside of his career, he was getting beat up, he didn't have that very good of a year, they cut him. Kareem Hunt is what, 24?
He's got 3 more years left before he starts downside.
He's a top 10 player in the league right now?
He's a top 3.
Yeah.
He was second or third in the league in touchdowns this year. He led the league in rushing last year.
Yeah.
He's arguably Kamara, Gurley, Hunt.
Yeah.
That's the list.
I think it's starting to come out. First off, again, The NFL is just so fucking horrible.
Bad people.
Just Roger Goodell is a bad person.
They've replaced NBA players as bad people.
I agree. And Roger Goodell, I'm not saying he's a bad person because of the Rams leaving St. Louis, which is part of the reason, but the NFL told the Chiefs apparently, hey, don't worry about it. Okay. And to the Chiefs' credit, they were like, no, we're worried about it. And they have said, now this part might be not so great, but they basically said, you know what, it wasn't the abuse. Yikes. Yeah. It was that he lied about it. And we just wanted to know all the cards on the table from the beginning.
Yeah.
And they basically said, yeah, we're letting him go, yes, partially because of what he did, but we believe people can be redeemed, and I believe that as well, but he lied about it. He tried to cover it up. He tried to downplay it. You can't downplay kicking a fucking woman.
So I guess I didn't know all that part about the Chiefs side of it, because I was kind of lumping them in with the NFL.
And no, they were told by the NFL apparently, stop asking for the video.
Okay, when did the NFL get the video? Have we heard that yet?
NFL didn't get the video until the Chiefs got the video, but the NFL stopped trying to get the video as well.
Okay.
There is a rumor going around that this video was leaked.
Okay, and I've heard that too.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to say. I don't believe any of that. Have you ever heard about what the NFL does to a new player in the league and when new coaches, and they have all these former CIA, FBI investigators? They have. I heard. I can't remember what the last. I thought it was Deflategate.
Okay.
When they were doing Deflategate, they got every phone they could possibly get.
Yep.
And they screened every employee that would. And I heard at that point that the NFL probably is the second only to the government, and it's in what the power of people, the amount of people it employs, and the amount of fact checking and digging that they do. Because it's such a big machine. And I don't buy that they didn't know this video existed.
And well, they knew the video existed. They just were being stonewalled apparently by the Cleveland casino.
I don't buy it.
Taylor Twellman, St. Louis's own, who's a big MLS announcer and was an MLS player, echoed your statements on Twitter. He said the same thing, that it's disgusting that the NFL spends so much time and money and resources towards not only Deflategate, but also it's a whole other can of worms. But there's definitely some kind of conspiracy against Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yeah, there's no way around it.
Yeah,
there's guys getting picked up and signed. Mark Sanchez.
Yeah,
Mark Sanchez butt fumble is his most famous play.
Yeah,
he just got signed.
Right.
Kaepernick, you can't tell me that you can't at least get a serviceable offense out of a guy that can run a 4.40.
Right.
You know, I mean, and
you're a Niners fan. You've seen a lot of them. I mean,
and I was the guy that was upset that Kaepernick took Alex Smith's job, but I still know that Kaepernick, and by the way, his first season with the Niners, his stats were better than Jimmy G. Q's. And I love Garoppolo.
Well, I think the only thing with Kaepernick real quick, though, is NFL teams don't want distractions.
That's a big reason.
One thing I never have seen people from the Kaepernick pro crowd is the same thing happened to Kaepernick that happened to Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow could have played backup quarterback in the NFL. Could he have been a starter? No. But teams didn't want the distraction that came with the Tebow circus, and that's why he was blackballed as well. That's all it is. It's they don't want the circus. Now, Hunt's talents, I think, trump the circus. We've already seen reports that the Bills and the Raiders
of course, the Raiders. They signed Aldon Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, we've already seen teams kind of put out feelers there.
He's not going to play. The NFL's not going to let him play.
I think that they will make him sit out next year, but he will be available for 2020.
Kind of like Ray Rice. Same thing with Ray Rice.
Well, by that point, Ray Rice is 29, and people are just like,
yeah, but I mean, it's still, that's about the equivalent of a suspension.
Yeah.
But just a bad guy. And God bless, man. The Chiefs legitimately, coming off that performance against the Rams, the Chiefs are a team that really had a shot at the Super Bowl. Maybe the third best. But yeah, and they do. Ware's not a big step down. It's a step down.
Look no further than last year where the Eagles lost Carson Wentz, and everybody was saying the same thing. And 6 weeks later, we have the legend of Big Dick Nick.
Yeah, no doubt. But oh well, fuck all that noise. Let's we're over an hour. Let's start wrapping it up.
So hey, we touched on this earlier about that. Not only are you interested, but I'm also interested in getting MLS season tickets. And one of the reasons I would be interested is I'm officially declaring to PC Bombcast Nation here, I am done with my St. Louis Blues season tickets after this year.
Boy, what a year! You know what? Let's go. Let me real quick. Let me just say that we're throwing it to Missy. Of course, she's not here. Neither is Bender. So this is where Tom's first quick hit goes.
I should have my own segment here. The team is terrible, and not only is it terrible, it's not going to get any better anytime soon. And
it's unacceptably terrible.
It really is. And look, at this point, I just want them to fucking tank. # lose for Hughes. Hughes is an American player. He's 17 years old. His name is Jack Hughes. He is now I won't say a once-in-a-generational talent, but a once-in-a-decade type talent. Plays center. Be a great fit.
Hockey's one of those sports where it's hard to determine what is a once-in-a-generation player until they get a little older. Because there's so many guys that are big. I mean, there's been guys that have like Kane and Taves in Chicago, or
he would be more like this.
Okay,
the two once-in-a-generational players I've heard in hockey have been Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby in my lifetime, anyway.
Yeah, and Crosby has he lived up to that? I mean, he's
3 Stanley Cups.
Yeah, 3 now. God, it's hard to believe it.
It's hard. Yeah. Well, and you got to remember too, Sidney. He started having concussion issues in his late 20s.
Like Lindros, who was a once-in-a-generation guy.
Yep. No, that's true. Eric Lindros was considered that, and Eric Lindros made in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but another guy that was, he had like 10 concussions that we know of.
That hit that Scott Stevens put on him in that game, it is one of the disgusting hits you'll ever see. But anyway, that's here, or there.
Yeah.
The reason I get these season tickets is it's partially with the product on the ice, but also where I'm at in my life, where it's a pain in the ass to go now. Because I got to either take the wife and the baby or Bananas, who's 4. It's just not fun. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I'd rather spend that money and go, instead of 12 times a year, 2 or 3 times a year, get good seats.
I agree. And watch it at the comfort of your own home. And still be a fan.
Yeah, and then go 2 or 3 times a year and sit in really good seats and bring the whole family. And, now we're at center ice, paying... now I don't have to pay beers for 12 games. I'm only paying beers for 3 games. Or maybe we just fucking do the all-inclusive so my kids get unlimited chicken fingers. So that's kind of where I'm at. They suck.
I wanted to ask you about this, and I'm glad you brought it up. I was thinking about it after last night's game. This morning when I woke up and looked. Also, I'm going to... Anyway, so I was looking at it. And I said they're way worse than they should be. And then I got to thinking, well, are they? Why do we think that we deserve a better team? And at first I was going to say, well, because they've never been a Stanley Cup. I'm like, but there's other teams. Every city deserves a good product. But I will say this, and I hate to say this, but teams like the Cubs, who were shitty, not just shitty for so long, but never could quite get over that hump. They always did their best to try to put on a good team. They just didn't have it. Yep. I mean, there was I don't think this current Cub team was as good as that Moises Alou team with the 3-headed monster pitching staff. That team was unbelievable, and they still didn't get to the World Series.
Well, another example of talent trumps human being. That team doesn't win the World Series without a horrible human being, Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
He was a wife beater.
So there's a lot of teams out there that St. Louis with the Blues are mirror images of. It is a painfully diehard loyal fan base.
Yeah,
painfully diehard loyal. They're Red Soxian only in hockey not being as big as baseball. They're proportionately to that level.
Yeah,
and for that alone, people deserve to be rewarded for their loyalty. And it just seems like they just make bad mistake after bad even when and they do just enough to make us think that they're putting together a good team.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happens. And it's not, we can't even really claim injury bugs. We can't.
Now you can, but yes. Yeah. Earlier, a month ago, no. Now it's a fucking shit show. Alex Pietrangelo is hurt. Robbie Fabry's hurt. Alcine's hurt. Shorts. It's.
Also, too, by the way, and it's not me shitting on the player, but Fabry seems to be hurt all the time.
Him and Jaden Schwartz are fighting for Mr. Glass award every year.
And that's a problem too. At some point, you have to. And I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Doug Armstrong a good GM?
Going into this year, I would have said yes. At this point, I would say he's fine.
He's got one more year.
Well, that's the problem too. Is he just signed a 4-year extension over the summer?
You can still be fired.
You can be. It just depends if this franchise wants to pay for 3 years of him and then another GM.
Hey, they're doing it to Yo. They're paying him to be a home.
I think GMs make a little more than.
You're right too. Yeah. But that's sports. But he's at least good enough that he's got one more year to fix whatever it is. So
it just depends on, like, I mean, in pro sports now is a little different than it was 25, 30 years ago. The Blues were in somewhat bad straits 5 or 6 years ago when this local ownership group bought them. Their franchise value has gone from $150 million to almost $250 million in the last 5 years.
So he's successful.
They're going to make money. So there's people like, oh, I don't know, the Blues are bad. Maybe people won't show up and they might move. No, they're not moving. If you even think that, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But I think what makes this particular team so disappointing is when your team spends to the cap and they suck this bad.
Yeah.
That's just, ugh.
That's poor construction of a team.
Oh yeah.
And I more and more I think about it after what Scott Boras said a couple weeks ago. I think the idea of a team destroying everything to rebuild is probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But it's clear this core group together not going to win a Stanley Cup.
Well, Scott Boras is saying that because he's trying to get his clients money. No, but look at baseball.
But he's right though. It's stupid for a team, say the Marlins, who have done it the most.
Well, that's
what he was talking about. He goes, it's dumb for a team to enter a rebuilding year when. He said, in the day and age we live in, with the amount of revenue that's out there and available to everyone, of course he wants to drive his market up for Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
But with the amount of revenue that's available to every team in their sport, it's dumb to be a rebuilding team. You essentially give up on a season. You say, I'm going to lose. And what he said, he went on to say, he goes, because you can't guarantee when that losing will stop. I'm going to lose for 1 year and come back stronger the next one. You can't guarantee. Losing has a way of breeding more losing.
I get what he's saying, but at the same time, I mean, look at our 2 of the last 3 Major League World Series winners. The Astros tanked for 3 years, and now they're one of the top 3 best teams in baseball. The Cubs did it for 2 or 3 years. I think they already hit their peak, but they got their 1 title.
Yeah, and they all had a combination of fortuitous free agent signings and good farm systems. And sometimes you can do that. But see, I don't think Houston and Chicago ever tanked. They had teams that
Houston tanked bad.
They just were a bad team. And then they brought in when the Cardinals had the best organization in sports,
yep.
They brought in pieces of that and they turned it around. Mm-hmm. They just had a bad, you get good front office people and you let them do their job. Now, if they're not, get new front office people.
Sure.
Find them.
Yeah.
Find them. Because it would be. Would you ever think that the New England Patriots would go, all right, we know we've been good for a long time. We didn't make the playoffs, or we lost in the first round. We're gonna mail in next season and rebuild. Never.
Football's a little different.
Football is, but I mean, in this day and age, the Yankees have never rebuilt. They just keep retooling now, or rebuying more product. Now that doesn't work all the time,
right?
But do you think that they would ever allow a 76-game win season?
No, they wouldn't ever bomb out.
Yeah,
and the Red Sox had one disaster. But I think the thing is, when you know you're having a bad year, like the Blues are having,
yeah.
Just tank this year. Doesn't mean you tank next year.
No. I don't like. What I mean though is I don't like when people say teams should rebuild or they should You know what? Destroy it all and let's build it from the ground zero.
I see what you're saying.
Because building from ground zero is hard. Now, we've seen it in hockey with the Golden Knights that it can be done.
Yeah.
But it is rebuilding typically from ground zero is an awful endeavor.
Well, you just want to be bad enough to get that one season where you get that top 3 pick.
Yeah. In hockey, that still works. In football, basketball, that works. That doesn't work in baseball.
No, it doesn't. You have to. Then that's why people tank in baseball, because you need 2 or 3 years of those low picks. Now you've got 6 players,
and you have 6 different types of drafts in baseball. So it's
true too.
But anyway, Mike. So you got any more quick hits to?
That's all I got.
I'll say this. I got a couple more. One, there was a heavyweight championship boxing match, maybe the most important we've seen in a long time. It was Tyson Fury, who has an incredible good story. The guy, his Mount Rushmore was beating Lennox Lewis. I don't know why I said that, but Vladimir Klitschko.
Okay.
He beat Vladimir Klitschko, made him look silly. First guy to ever do that. And
Klitschko's 40?
This was 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
And then Tyson Fury said after that, he goes,
Is Tyson Fury American?
No,
British?
He's British. He has always battled mental health problems.
Is he white or black?
He's white.
Okay.
And after he beat Klitschko, he said, the next day, when I should have been elated, I thought, well, now I have nothing else in life. And he spiraled, to which they stripped him of the title. He got on cocaine and drugs, and he was done with boxing, got up to like 340 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Something happened about a year and a half ago. He goes, this is not me. And he just started getting in shape, fought a fight a year ago. He was the last linear heavyweight champ. They stripped him of the titles. They got spread out like they always do. So he came back and said, I'm going to be the champ again. So he got one of his titles back. Last night he fought American great Deontay Wilder.
Okay.
Who, by the way, is maybe one of the hardest hitters in the history of heavyweight boxing. He's very slim for a heavyweight. But Tyson Fury's talking shit from him before the fight is great. He said he looks like a deer learning to walk the way he punches. Because Deontay Wilder really throws everything from as far out as he can. Okay. And it's asinine. But he's the kind of guy that even if you block it, it can knock you out. Okay. So they fought last night. So there's 3 major champs in the world right now. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder. And Joshua is very transparently playing the ducking game because he is a cash cow. He's like Lennox Lewis. He's educated. He's well-spoken. He's very charismatic. And he's a very good boxer. But he's came dangerously close to losing his last couple fights, so they are not putting him in a hurry to put him in there for these other 2, Tyson Fury and Wilder. Okay. So Tyson Fury and Wilder, to their credit, said, hey, we're here to fucking fight. We will fight each other. And the only reason I really bring it up is they fought last night.
Yeah.
Wilder knocked down Fury twice.
Okay.
Including in one of the greatest internet memes of all time in the 12th round, to where it looked like Tyson Fury, he was stiff as a board, out cold, and then the boom Undertaker gong, and he raises straight up and shoots up to the point where there's also a great camera that was on Wilder, and he was like blowing kisses, and then he goes, oh. How the fuck did that guy just get up? And so some people say that Fury won most of the rounds and Wilder had the 2 knockdowns. But in typical boxing fashion, which is why MMA is getting more and more popular, the fight ended in a draw. It's the second biggest boxing match other than Canelo and Alvarez. Mm-hmm. And won because they fought again in bad decision. But the first one of those, and this fight ended in a draw. Boxing is no way around it, more corrupt than even FIFA was at one point. Boxing is the most corrupt sport. The only reason this ended in a draw is because they want the rematch. Yeah. Because Anthony Joshua is not fighting either one of them.
Yeah.
So to make another $1 billion fight, they fit it. They're like, well, this looks like we could call it a draw. I don't know who won.
Yeah.
I've heard both ways. Now it may be a draw, but I'll tell you this:
you knocked down somebody twice. You won the fight.
It's pretty hard to argue with. Fury's a better boxer than Wilder. Wilder just has this insane power. Yeah. Insane power. And he's 6'8". So not only has he got insane power, you got to get close to him to hit him. You got to go through the chopping mall to get, you got to go through hell to get to him to touch him.
Yeah.
By the way, Fury, 6'7". Anthony Joshua right now, 6'6". Big guys.
Big dudes.
Yeah, but it's disappointing because the most glamorous, and this is something people can argue about, but soccer, World Cup soccer is amazingly popular. Mm-hmm. Super Bowl is still the biggest event in the world.
Yeah.
World Series is great. NBA Finals, okay. Stanley Cup, I think, carries more weight than the NBA Finals in terms of prestige, in terms of the cup, the trophy. The trophy. People speak in reverence of the Stanley Cup.
That's true.
None of that, at any point, no matter how big it was, has ever been bigger than when heavyweight prize fighting was at its biggest. In the 30s, 40s, and 50s, even into the Ali days, it was like people literally around.
It is crazy how like the 3 biggest sports when our grandpas were around was boxing, baseball, and horse racing.
Yeah.
And those are probably, are they in the top 5 now?
Yeah, and it could be argued that boxing at its peak was bigger than every other sport ever. It was amazing.
Probably.
And they have, crooked people have put it down to where that fight happened last night. It's the most important heavyweight fight we've seen since Louis Klitschko, and there's not a word of it on any paper. And you didn't know it happened. And you're a guy that likes sports.
I haven't watched a boxing match since Pacquiao and Mayweather, and before that,
which was
probably
a joke.
Lewis and Tyson.
Yeah, Lennox Lewis, who destroyed Tyson.
But I remember watching as a kid, every Holyfield-Tyson fight.
Tyson fights were important. Holyfield fights were important.
Yeah.
But heavyweight fights are not important. It's kind of sad. But anyway, I just wanted to bitch about that. Did I have anything MMA-wise to bitch about? I thought I had. I don't. I'm not talking about MMA. I don't think I'm going to talk about anything. I think we're done. I think we went an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, we did that.
Are we the best? Us too?
It's hard to argue that how great we are. I mean, it's very hard to argue. I hope this episode was enjoyable for people because we talked about a whole...
Well, we have two kinds of fans. We have fans who like my style more. We have fans who like Bender's style more. It's okay. Just listen to the show.
Do we have those type of fans?
That like Bender's style more?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think his friends that download actually listen.
Well, don't your friends like usually Bender episode more?
Oh, I don't think my friends give a shit as long as I'm on. I got nothing else. I just wanted to say that. So
all right, let's go Shitty Blues.
All right. Are you going to have to say let's go whatever our hot, MLS team is eventually?
No.
Hopefully they get a good cheer, and we'll say that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, we'll play the music.
All right.